Algebra 1 students do the homework help video. Page 157, 19 through 41 on. Let's go ahead and jump right into these. Here we go. Alright, let's solve this equation. Step 1, simplify both sides as far as possible. Nothing we can do. Step 2, eliminate fractions. There are none. Step 3, move the variable terms to one side and constant terms to the other. So, since I have one constant term here, it's probably easier to bring the 12y over here and make it negative. Alright? So now I have positive 21 and negative 3. Alright? Next step, simplify both sides. Again, nothing we can do there. And then lastly, isolate the variable. So we'll divide both sides by negative 3. And our answer is negative 7. Alright? These cancel. Positive divided by negative is negative. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Let's check it real quick here. Put a negative 7 in here. Put a negative 7 in here. We get a negative 63. This is negative 84. Positive 21. And it checks. Negative 63 equals negative 63. And students, I'm not going to check all my answers on these, okay? But I'm just reminding you on the first one that you can check your answers, okay? All right, number 21. Step 1, simplify both sides as far as possible. Nothing I can simplify here or here. Unlike terms over here. Step 2, move the variable term or eliminate fractions. There are none. Next, move your variable terms to one side and your constant terms to the other. And by the way, you are more than welcome to bring the 4 in over here and bring the 3 over here. That's fine, okay? But for me, since there's only one constant term and it's already here, I just think it's easier to bring this over. Make it a positive 28. Excuse me. Which would give you 32n equals negative 3. No simplifying to do. Isolate your variable and divide both sides by 32. A negative over a positive is negative, and 3 over 32 cannot be reduced. Now, let me check my answers here to make sure I've not made a mistake somewhere. Okay, that is correct. Now, the decimal for that, don't have a calculator. Let me see here. Let me get out my cell phone here real quick. If you want to write that as a decimal, your answer would be negative 0.09375. Okay? Alright, number 23. Step 1, simplify both sides. Nothing I can do. Step 2, eliminate fractions. Next, move your variable terms to one side. So I'm left with 12 equals 48d. No simplifying to do. Isolate the variable and divide both sides by 48. This can be reduced to 1/4. Alright, so the answer to number 23 is 1/4, or 0.25 is also acceptable. Alright, 25. Step 1, simplify both sides. We're good there. Next, eliminate fractions. We're good there. Next, variable terms to one side, constant terms to the other. Now, it does not matter if you bring the 2s over here and the negative 11 over here, or if you bring the 6s over here and the positive 5 over here. It does not matter. You'll get the same answer either way, okay? I'm going to bring the 2s over and make it a positive 2s. Bring the negative 11 over, make it a positive 11, and we're left with 8s equals 16. Alright? Isolate the variable. And 16 divided by 8 is 2. Alright, number 27. Simplify both sides, eliminate fractions, move variable terms to one side, constant terms to the other side. Negative 20q equals negative 10. Alright, isolate the variable, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 20. These cancel. Q equals positive 2. Alright, negative over a negative is that would be a positive 1/2. 10 goes into both of those. So 1/2, or you can put 0.5. Okay, now 20 over 10 would equal 2. Okay, that's not what we have. We have 10 over 20, which is 1/2 or 0.5. Okay? Alright, number 29. Simplify both sides of the equation. Nothing I can do there. Eliminate fractions. There are none. Let's move the variable terms to one side and the constant terms to the other side. And we get 16g equals 16. Divide both sides by 16. And 16 over 16 is 1. Alright? So the answer to number 29 is 1. 31. Simplify both sides. There's no simplifying that we can do to this side here. We have unlike terms. However, over here on the right side, we can take this 6 and multiply it through. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times negative r is negative 6r. Alright? Now, we have simplified both sides as far as we can go. Next, eliminate fractions. Next, move your constant terms to one side and your variable terms to the other side. When you do, these cancel 0, these cancel 0. So, listen carefully. When both, emphasis on both, when both variable terms and constant terms cancel out, then your answer is infinite solutions, or you can write all real numbers. And that's actually personally the answer that I like and recommend is all real numbers. Does that mean, Mr. Earhart, you can put any number in here that you want and it will work? Yes, it is. That's true. You can put any number in for R that you want. Decimal, fraction, whole number, rational, irrational, it doesn't matter. Any number you put in here will work. The answer is all real numbers. Alright? Number 33. Step 1. Simplify both sides. Obviously, I cannot simplify this side here. However, over here, take your negative 4 and multiply it through. Now, watch your signs. The 4 is negative. Negative times the positive is negative. Negative times the negative is positive. Next, eliminate fractions. Next, move your constant, your variable terms to one side. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. Move your variable terms to one side and your constant terms to the other side. Now don't forget, there's a 1 right here. Positive 1, negative 1, positive 4. That's a positive 3. Okay? Divide both sides by 3. And x equals 4. All right. Moving on to number 35. Okay. First, simplify both sides. This side here cannot be simplified. Over here we have a lot of simplifying to do. Take your -4, multiply it through, watch your signs. Bring down your 8a, negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 5 is 20, 20a. Negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 2 is 8. Now, we have some more simplifying to do. There's two a terms here, so I now have 10a positive 8 equals 12a. There. Step 1 is done. I cannot simplify this side anymore, nor this side. Okay, next, eliminate fractions. Next, variable terms to one side, constant terms to the other side. When I do that, I'm left with 8 equals 2a, positive 12, negative 10, positive 2. Now, divide both sides by 2, and 4 equals a. Alright, so the answer to 35, and you know what? I'm looking at the answer key here. It's saying I made a mistake somewhere. Let me pause this and try to find my mistake. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Found my mistake. 4 times 5 is 20, and I just put 2a, so it should be 20a. There we go. Now, let's continue from there. Hopefully I've not made any more mistakes. Positive 8, positive 20. They're both a terms, so 28a. Positive 8 equals 12a. Next, bring your 28a over, make it negative, and we're left with 8 equals negative 16a. Divide both sides by negative 16. These cancel, leaving you with a. A positive over a negative is negative, and 8 over 16 is 1/2. And that is the correct answer. Alright, negative 1/2. Alright, moving on to number 37. Okay, step 1, simplify both sides. Over here, take your -2, multiply through. Negative times a positive is negative. 2 times 6 is 12. Negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 10 is 20. 10 times 2, 20. 10 times -6, negative 60. Alright. Next, eliminate fractions. Next, variable terms on one side, constant terms on the other. These cancel. 0 equals negative 48. Now let's go back. I think it was number 31. I've erased my work here, but we had 0 equals 0. That means the variable terms and the constant terms both canceled out. Okay? Notice in this problem here, that's not the case. The variable term canceled out. The constant terms did not. So in this situation, we have no solution. Okay? No solution. Now, students, please listen to me carefully. Sometimes, forget this problem for a second, just forget it. Sometimes, at the end of an equation, you'll end up with something like this. 2x equals 0. And the students stop and they put no solution. That's wrong. Here, the variable terms canceled out. The constant terms did not. That's when it's no solution. Here, the variable terms did not cancel cancel out, so you're okay to finish the problem. You simply divide by 2, and x equals 0. Okay? Well, Mr. Earhart, up here, you really have 0n, which is the same thing as 0. If I have 0n, why don't I divide by 0 and get 0 for an answer? Because, think about it, you can never divide by 0. Never. It's impossible. If I take 48 and divide it by 0, and just go on and on. I mean, you can't, it's impossible. And also, in a division problem, should be a 0 here. Sorry guys, there should be a 0 here. 48. 0 goes to 48. It just goes on and on. But also in a division problem, remember, after you subtract these two numbers here, this number here is never supposed to be bigger than this number here. If you were dividing 2 into 6 and you put a 1 and subtracted and got a 4, if this number here is bigger than this number here, then you know you have to go higher, up to 3 to be exact. Okay, so variable terms cancel out, constant terms don't, no solution. However, if the variable terms don't cancel out and the constant terms do, then your answer is going to be 0. Guys, you're just going to have to learn that, okay? All right, number 38. Step 1. Let's simplify both sides, okay? So, take your 1/2, multiply it through. 1/2 times 12 is 6. 1/2 times 12. 2 cancels, all right? 6n positive times a negative is negative. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Bring down 14, negative 10n. Alright? I cannot simplify this side over here. Now next, eliminate fractions. There are none. And by the way, if you're trying to eliminate fractions first, there's a very good chance you'll miss the problem. Please don't do that, okay? Alright, next, let's move our variable terms to one side, our constant terms to the other, and I get 16n equals 16. Now, divide both sides by 16 to get the variable by itself. 16 over 16 is 1, and that is the answer. Alright? Alright, number 41. Step 1, simplify both sides. Take your 3/4, multiply it through. 3/4 times 24 is 18. Right? 3/4 is 24 over 1. 4 goes to 24 6 times 18, okay? 3/4 times negative 8, negative 6b. Take your 2, multiply it through. 2 times 5 is 10. 10b. 2 times 1 is 2. Next step, eliminate fractions. Next step, variable terms on one side, constant terms on the other. We end up with negative 16b equals negative 16. You owe 18, you pay off 2, you still owe 16. Now, in order to get b by itself, we divide both sides by negative 16. These cancel. B equals positive 1. And that is the correct answer. Students, I hope this homework help video has been a help to you. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to contact me.